You remember who you were before the world told you who you should be, right? Like courage. Do you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? And so anytime you got to be courageous, let's look at it from the standpoint of dreams, goals, and aspirations. You got your dream, your goal, and your aspiration, and then you got reality. And oftentimes reality doesn't reflect the goal, the dream, and the aspiration. And so when you think courage, like being courageous and following your heart because it somehow knows what you want to do, it's almost like when you feel something that you should do, and for some strange reason, like your mind or your spirit tells you, nah, I don't want to do it because it takes you outside of your comfort zone, but you know you should do it, you can feel it, and then you go against it.
To 10% away from greatness. But we think we're so far away from it that we never try. And once I started going down this journey, I started realizing that, and those percents started to add up. And before I knew it, my mind started hardening, and I started passing so many different people that I thought were so far above me. And then before I knew it, man, I became uncommon amongst the uncommon.
But you gotta want it more than anything. Don't quit on your dreams. Quit on other people's purposes for your life. They don't know what you dream about at night, but you know your dreams keep interrupting your sleep. It's like someone is waking you up saying, it's time. It's like someone is saying, keep staring at the ceiling until you can create a vision board in your mind and paint it on the ceiling large enough that you see it every day. What type of legacy do you want to leave? There's a purpose to everything you've been through, and there's a reason why it was given to you.
Extraordinary accomplishments come from doing ordinary things for extraordinary periods of time. Working out and doing reps is not extraordinary. It's the fact that you do it for 20 straight years. Nothing about that is extraordinary. It's the dedication to doing it over and over and over and over again, despite feeling like there's better opportunities, despite people approaching you with new and exciting things, but saying that you're committed to the original vision you had, and that, not the action itself, but your commitment to the action is what makes someone extraordinary, not the thing itself. And to me, that made being extraordinary possible.
Because when you think about true courage, I look at it as a person being who they authentically were made to be. In every avenue, in every aspect of their life. When they walk out of the door in the morning, they are who they're supposed to be. It takes courage to be that.
I'm not saying that there aren't things in life that we just have to do. There are. But what I am saying is ask questions. And don't believe everything that you're told, and don't follow the path just because it's there. Don't get in line just because other people are.
If there is something that you can to 100% adjust and control in this life, it can only be yourself. If there is something which is 100% in your control, it must be yourself. What else should it be? And so if you think there is a possibility to master something, to take responsibility of something, then I think it must be related first of all to your being.
You know how you got there. You know the situations, you know the circumstances, you know how it began to overwhelm you. Since you know that, put the knowledge to use. Stop being afraid of it. Don't create this monster that you think that you can't face The idea of going broke, if you've been broke, you're at the bottom. If you're at the bottom, you can look up. And if you can look up, you can get up. And if you can get up, you can stay up. And if you can stay up, you can climb up. And if you can climb up, you can create a platform.
And if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself, dude. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your whatever you're a part of. It's bigger than you, man.
You were born for such a time as this.
You avoid things that stand in your way that frighten you at your great peril. If you cower from them in silence, or you turn away seeking security even, or even sensible security, you violate the principle of your own strength. And if you violate the principle of your own strength, you become weak. And if you're weak, there is no security. Like if you're weak and you have a pension, you're weak with a pension. All that'll mean is that you'll live longer in terror. That's not helpful.
To truly change is to think greater than your environment. And every great person in history knew this. They all had an idea, couldn't see it, couldn't smell it, couldn't taste it, couldn't feel it, but it was alive in their mind. So can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet? But you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already happened?
As we begin to look at what we want, as we begin to look toward the future, what's going to be crucial for you is every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, you've got to affirm to yourself, hey, no, I can make it. This can happen for me. You've got powers within you, talents within you that you haven't even reached for yet. Now, whatever goal you have, here's what we know. You're going to have some opposition. You're going to have some difficulties. You're going to have some challenges. Long journey, long dark night. But when you hold on to your dream, don't let anybody kill it in you. Just hold on to that dream. When it doesn't make sense to anybody, including you sometimes, just hold on. Once you give yourself an opportunity to try and to stretch, you'll find out you can do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
Why do you have goals? Is it to get the goals? You get the goal. How many have gotten the goal and after you achieved it, you went, is this all there is? That's worse than failing, isn't it? Because most of you, if you fail, you're driven, right? You'll dust yourself up, get up, and go for it again. You're going to get there. So I want you to understand something. The purpose of life is not to get your goals. The purpose of life is who you become to achieve your goals.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens.
And every day you fight not wanting to get up. And you do anyway. You chip another piece off that fucking rock. And every day you can eat the right foods. And every day you go to train. You train harder and harder and harder and harder. And you get up earlier. And all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock off. Before you know it, you have this beautiful fucking piece of artwork that you built.
Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? I'm gonna ask you again, can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? If the outcome of the result changes, will you still be the same individual?
Person who has purpose in their life. They have something to go for, some meaning. One writer described it, for some people it becomes a magnificent obsession. But it has to be something that does something to us, something that pulls us, especially into the future. You know, there are many influences on us. One is the influence of the past. Some people are always pulled back by the past. Some people are always pulled aside by the distractions. But here's what's powerful. If you have a list of high purpose in your life, it pulls you toward the future. And the more powerful the purpose is, the stronger it pulls.
See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. But most of us aren't like that, but we want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first. I was willing to say every day, Lisa, you like you? Lisa, are you proud of you? Lisa, are you playing full out? Every day before I checked in with anybody else.
Everything that's happening to you is God is processing. Every difficult moment you're having, He just processing it. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. And if you need to be tough, when you get to where you're going, then He gonna toughen you. He gonna let you have some trials come your way that's gonna have to produce that in you.
At some point, you're going to have the courage. At some point, you're going to have the confidence. And it's total bullshit. And so there are so many people in the world, and you know, you may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation. And that's not true. Because the way that our minds are wired, and the fact about human beings is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things because our brains are trying to keep us alive. And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary.
Decision making is the force that shapes destiny. How many of you can think of the decisions that you made years ago, 1 or 2 decisions, 5, 10, 15 years ago? That decision, you may not have realized at the time, but that decision was one of the most important decisions of your life. If you made a different decision there, you've gone a different direction, your life would be completely different today.
You've got to decide in this life whether you want to be entitled or you want to earn it. If it's entitlement you're looking for, you'll never be remembered in history. You'll be the person that could have been, should have been, and could have been if somebody had given you. But you don't have a right to be given anything. Earn it, take it, take control of your life, take dominion.
I don't care how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
The reason most people fail is because they give up what they want most for what they want now.
You have only one life, so don't waste it being controlled by someone else. Sharpen your sword. And by that, I mean your body, your mind, your spirit, and then go out there into the world and slay those dragons.
Short-term thinking says one workout doesn't matter. I can skip it. Short-term thinking encourages you to make short-term emotional decisions that hurt you in the long run. The further from the path you will stray.
It's not to quit on your dream. It's to quit living other people's purpose for your life. They don't know what's inside of you, but you do. Open it up. Open yourself up to grow. Challenge yourself to be more, so you can serve more, so you can do more.
When you're balanced properly between order and novelty, that manifests itself to you as deep engagement. And that's a signal And it's not merely cognitive, it's way deeper than that, that you're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. And everyone wants that all the time. Like, images of paradise are representations of that state of being. So it's there for you, but there are preconditions that you strive to aim at the best. And that has to be your fundamental ethos. And it's a decision that, despite all of the calamities of being, that your primary ethical obligation is to work for the betterment of yourself and others.
Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Here's what you should know about winning before you chase it. Winning's not loyal to you. It doesn't care about you. Winning doesn't care how sore you are. Winning doesn't care how much sleep you get. Winning doesn't care how hard you work at times. Winning requires all of you and then more, and it promises you nothing. It's a mastermind at creating fear and doubt in your mind. It causes setback after setback. So the question is about winning. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? And why chase this thing called winning? Because the only thing that's guaranteed in life, if you don't chase it, is losing.
You don't become that person you were created to be by accident. You become that person by being intentional. By saying, you know what? This is what I'm going to get out of this year. Right now, you should be saying, this is what I'm going to get out of this moment. This is your life. You have to figure it out. You have to figure out what's best for you. But I will tell you this, a made up mind. Most people have made up their mind that, you know what, it's done. Most people say, oh, my plans didn't go the way they're supposed to go, so I'm just going to tank it. But not you. You're going to make up your mind that you're going to be that 1%.
At some time or another, have agonized over making a decision. Some decisions are major decisions. And also there are a lot of small decisions that we don't make, that they tax our minds, they drain our energy. They create a lot of anxiety and nervousness and mental torment because we don't take care of it. We decide not to decide, which is a decision. Deciding to decide, to act, is a major, major challenge for all of us. And there are things that happen to us along the way, experiences that we have that prevent us from working through the mental block of acting, of doing those things that we know we ought to do.
If you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats, and you will take the island because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed.
Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and tougher and better and free from that storm, free from the darkness.
Here's something else to recognize. Wherever you are on the ladder of life, wherever you are in life, ladies and gentlemen, you've got comeback power. I don't care how low you are. I don't care what you have done. I don't care what you have experienced. I don't care how devastated your life might appear to be, the shambles it might be in. There's a power in you that can enable you to be stronger and better than anything that's out here.
Bring it to life. And the only way to bring it to life is to work, to grind and toil and sweat and put your life into that vision and make it a reality for the entire world to see. So stop wasting time. Stop listening to me right now. Stop and go out and do the work to bring that vision to life.
My number one competition is me. It's always you versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success. You versus you.
If you're going through a really hard time, the dark days eventually pass and clear away, and the sun comes back. And so whatever you're going through, know that this is temporary and that soon the sun is going to come out again.
There's a time to be born and there's a time to die. So I want you to know you're going to die and there's nothing you can do about it. But what I would hope that you would do is I hope you would live. I gotta say, no matter how hard it may be, no matter how impossible it may seem, no matter how much this year sucks, I'm still gonna get the greatest me out of this. I'm still gonna step up to the plate. And some of you right now are thinking tomorrow. You know how many people said tomorrow that took their talents to the grave?
And I say that the reason that we don't even explore the possibility of what to do is because subconsciously we don't believe that it can happen for us, and we don't believe that we deserve it. So here's what I'm suggesting. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream?
There is work that must be done beyond what people see. People see your check, they see the car you drive, they see the house you own, but what they don't see is when you're staying up and putting in 16 hours of work now so that you can relax and enjoy later. You see, hard work is how you get in it. And anything you get without hard work has no value.
No matter what you face, no matter how bad it is going to be, when there is a challenge, and by a challenge I mean anything in life, any challenge, anything that you're facing, the only way to overcome the challenges that you face is to start walking.
Can we define a bad day without comparing it by definition to a good day? And vice versa. We decide what a good day is by comparing it to what a bad day would be. You can't have good days if you don't have bad days. If there are no bad days, the good days don't exist.
That's why failure is so important. Like failing and fucking up and making mistakes, it's very important. That's how you learn. That's how the bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better. It's dangerous to dwell on past mistakes because people sort of define themselves by the worst moments that they've ever had. They don't like the feeling of failure, so they keep low expectations so that they never have to feel that. You gotta get through it.
Limited time on earth. Long after we are gone, our families will remember us by the day we were born. What year you would have been in this particular year. Things that you used to do, or messages you used to pass on, memories, the experiences that they had with you. And that memory will last for a generation. But then there will be a generation that didn't know anything about you unless you do something monumental with the time you still have. The distress that we carry with us about things that happened externally to us during our development, during our youth, during our
moments of vulnerability. We have to be willing to let go of it so that we can grow through it. We have to be willing to let go so that we can become.
But a lot of us, what we do is we live our life on repeat. We spend time, right, living our life on repeat. We spend time in the same mess. We spend time in the same situation. We spend time in the same stress, and we spend our life like that. Right? We want change, we want to do better, we want all these things. But we're continuing to spend time on things that move us further away from it.
You're blind to your own weaknesses, but you're also blind to your own strengths. How far could you take that if you stopped wasting time and if you stopped lying and if you oriented yourself to the highest possible good that you could conceive of and you committed to that? How much good could you do? Well, I would say, why don't you find out?
Step out and step in. Fate has been calling you since birth, but you have to decide, is it your birthright? It's yours. Begin to claim it. You can manifest it the moment you begin to speak it. You want a bigger home? Speak it. You want a bigger career? Speak it. You want to make it to the NBA? Speak it. You want to make it in the NFL? Speak it. Begin to believe it. There may be different routes to your dream, so never give up.
It's a big difference between a hard worker and somebody that works hard. Right? Most cats are somebody that works hard. If the situation and the circumstance is what they want it to be, they're going to come out and they're going to act accordingly and they're going to give you everything they got. But a hard worker, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm going to show up and I'm going to give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. Right? The question becomes this. Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was going to get, will you still be the same individual?
It's not that life is better than you think. Life is as harsh as you think. It might even be worse, but you are way tougher than you think if you turn around and confront it.
Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B. When it doesn't make sense, logical sense to go on, that's when you got to use your emotion. That's when you got to use that anger, that frustration, that fear to push yourself harder, to push yourself to say, I don't stop. You got to override that emotion with the concrete logic and willpower. You fight the weak emotions with the power of logic, and you fight the weakness of logic with the power of emotions.
Well, I think the deck is stacked against everyone to some degree because life is very difficult and we all die. So, but some people do have it harder than others. And all of us have it very hard at some times in our lives. It's like, well, what's the alternative? You take responsibility for that and try to struggle uphill because the alternative makes everything worse. Bitter? Should they be bitter? Should they be resentful? Should they become violent? These things don't help. They have to struggle uphill despite their excess burden. And it's responsibility, not guilt. You know, it's not necessarily their fault. That's not the point.
You stop dreaming. You stop believing. You stop seeking. When you gonna realize that you hurt? That's what I want to know. At some point, you let the world put shackles around your imagination. You let the world put shackles around your life to keep you in a place that you are no longer supposed to be at. You allowed the world to imprison you in your past. And you think that's all that you are.
You let people judge you like they perfect.
I hope that you understand that every single person that you look at, every single person that you admire, every single person that you aspire to be like is literally just a regular human being like you that has worked their motherfucking ass off.
First, to turn nothing into something, you start with ideas and imagination.
Things change, things happen, people get sick, people get hurt, we lose our jobs, we lose our loved ones. Anything and everything can change in one day, and when it does, don't get caught back on your heels. Instead, go forward, go on the attack, and continue to fight.
I'm gonna take ownership over my freaking life, and I'm gonna stop living like that. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of us, we living like we got time, man. You don't have time. Stop living like that. You don't have time. You can't stop time. The sun is gonna keep rising. It's gonna keep rising. The moon's gonna keep coming up. It's gonna keep rising over and over and over again.
I realize that the things that you experience in life are making you bigger and better and stronger and faster and wiser. So you become something by dealing with the thing that tried to destroy you. It is not about holding on. It's about letting go so that you can grow.
It's an interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, that when we put ourselves in a situation where we say we're going to do it, it puts you in another zone where the universe responds to you. When you have that kind of consciousness, see, the universe responds to the man or woman that refuses to be denied, because that is your commitment.
It isn't going to knock on your door.
Your days are not just marked on the day you were born. That dash matters. In that dash, your life is so fleeting, so fast, so small, so short, that you cannot simply lay aside your expectations, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. You need to pick them up. You need to chase after everything with everything you have and discover what's been locked within you that needs to be released so that the rest of the world can find relief.
All of us have seen our destiny at some point in time, and we decided not to listen. We decided to ignore it and say, no, that's not for me. Life came in and slapped us side the head, and we stopped dreaming anymore. Bigger Thomas said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And that's what causes many of us to give up on our volcano. The experiences and the challenges, the defeats, the disappointments, and the failures of life. And we decide to prematurely throw in the towel on ourselves, or to sell out on our true potential, sell out on living our dreams, feeling that we're not good enough, not wanting to make any mistakes, particularly if you're raised with a great deal of criticism. So you've got to be willing to prepare yourself and do the best you can, take your best shot, and let the chips fall where they may.
Let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow.
Everyone already has the answer inside of them. You're not really learning anything new. You're just trying to get rid of all the bad lessons you learned. And for me, one of the ways I've always thought about is you can't take the world further than where you visited internally. The sun's always out, but often it's covered with the clouds. The sun is always out. It's just get covered by the clouds, and that's us. We've just been covered. And we get covered by those clouds, and they cloud our identity, they cloud our perception. And so all we're doing for ourselves and others is clearing out the clouds. And the more we do that for ourselves, the more we can do it for others, and the more we do it for others, the more we do it for ourselves.
Make the hard decisions, make the sacrifices, make the unpopular decisions, and become comfortable in your own skin. And if you are not a person that you are comfortable being alone with, that is the one person in this universe that you have full power, full right, and full responsibility to change.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
Empty your mind. Formless, shapeless, like water. Now water can flow or it can crash. In water, my friend.
Are you looking for a reason to continue pushing through the hard times, a reason to pick yourself up out of the dirt, out of the dark? Or are you looking for a reason to justify quitting? This ability to find what we look for, this is the human condition. This is our superpower. Our ability to find hope when there seems to be none.
And when you feel it, rely on the fact that you've overcome things in the past. Remember your resume. Remember every win that you've ever had. Remember every time you've overcome every obstacle. Remember that you have a name of victory behind you. That name of victory is your history.
Why continue? Why continue on that path? It was dark, and it was cold, and it was lonely. I've been there. I know how that feels. And it's scary. And it's lonely. This message is for the people who feel like all they have left are going through the motions, like all they have left are the cold and the dark, which seem to have become the only company they have. This message is for you. When you find yourself walking through the dark, through the cold, in search of the light, in search of a lifeline, realize that you were not supposed to find the light in this arena. You were supposed to become the light.
You've become a drifter in life. In other words, you are like a rudderless ship. You are not going under your own power. You are letting the currents of life, of circumstance, of the opposition determine how you feel, how you think, what you experience.
I think it's believing in the 85-year-old version of you, who's exactly who you want to be, and then ruthlessly looking at the discrepancy between the pittance of a human that you are now compared to that man or that woman, and then step by step breaking down the many differences and starting on the first one and pulling the thread.
As a matter of conscious experience, the reality of your life is always now. And I think that this is a liberating truth about the nature of the human mind. Probably nothing more important to understand about your mind than that if you want to be happy in this world. The past is a memory. It's a thought arising in the present. The future is merely anticipated. It is another thought arising now. What we truly have is this moment.
At the end of the day, everything that we do starts and ends with our attitude. How we perform, how we function, how we get along with others, it all starts with attitude. Now, the beautiful thing about attitude is there's only one person that gets to decide our attitude, and that's, of course, ourselves. It's changing the conversation in your own head. It's recognizing your greatness. It's recognizing the great things you were put on this earth to do.
You do not have what you want in your life, is that you invalidate wherever you are. You are so quick to trash yourself. You're so quick to go, this isn't happening fast enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm behind. I'm overwhelmed. That trash talk is what keeps you from moving forward. So you got to start telling yourself every day, you're exactly where you need to be.
What is there that you know you need to do, that you want to do this, but for some reason or another, you've been holding back? For some reason or another, you just have not been able to gather your nerves or be able to work through the procrastinating or putting it off or justifying or blaming. Some reason or another, you just haven't done it. And you know you ought to do this. You really want to do this, but you don't know why you haven't done it. Because in order to begin to reinvent your life, you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort.
If you wake up in the morning, you start having negative thoughts. Man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I just don't feel myself. In the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, just stop for a second and start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for.
To yourself.
We're hypnotized or conditioned into believing we need a reason for gratitude or joy. And until I get that, I'm this. If you have the thought of your future and you feel the lack that it's not there, then you're back to the victim, right? But if you can have the thought, and the thought actually produces, just like fear, the thought of something terrible happening in your life creates the feeling of fear, the thought of something wonderful in your life creating the feeling of gratitude. Then when you think about your future, you begin to emotionally condition your body into that future. Now here's the payoff. Thoughts are the electrical charge in the quantum field, and feelings are the magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts information and energy into the field. The question is, what are you broadcasting every single day?
People are so not present. They're not communicating clearly. They're making mistakes. They're not pursuing mastery. It's costing so much energy. It's like they will tell you, like, I'm not paid enough, I'm not getting a lot from the world, I'm not very successful, no one applauds me, I don't have a nice home, I don't have a nice whatever. But they're not looking in the mirror, and I call it APR, absolute personal responsibility.
No one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand, you got to push yourself. You're not going to make your dreams come true.
That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender.
Think strategic all the time. Before any action or any inaction, ask yourself this question: is this action going to make me stronger or weaker? Will this action move me toward the strategic long-term goals I am trying to achieve in my life? And do not lie to yourself.
One day, or day one. I'll do it one day. Okay? That's up to you. Or day one. This is day one. This is day one. I have had in my crosshairs that thing that I believe gets me out of bed, that thing that I run towards, that thing that I want to be passionate about.
that thing I want to accomplish, today is the first day. Today is day one.
So in life, it's real important to do what you say because that's where true knowledge comes from. I wanted to quit every single day, but many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered. And when you're suffering, I'm not talking about this physically, I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that.
They print money, they don't print time. They don't print opportunities. You can lose money and get it back. You can't get time back.
Failure is a part of the process.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings.
There's a voice that guides you through life. But sometimes it's guiding you in a direction that you don't want to go. That's usually the right place to go.
Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it?
Life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself.
If I'm a man of my word and I make a promise and I keep it, that means I commit to the things and to the people that I've committed to. But beyond that, I keep my promises to myself as well. Remember, your reputation is not just what others perceive of you. Your reputation with yourself is also known as your confidence.
Every time you were counted out, you stood up. You may not believe it, but you must. Look in the mirror and remind that person that you are a victor, you're not a victim.
And a lot of us have a lot of people who support us. They support us going to school, support us with our business, support us with losing weight, with diets, all this other stuff. But they also support us when we want to quit. So that's not a good foxhole. While you're looking to get to the next level, it's truly important to look at that foxhole. Some of those people from high school, from college, they may not belong in that foxhole with you because as you grow, they stay exactly where they are. And they can't stand seeing you grow.
You may sit there and look at yourself. Maybe you're even believing that because you were born a certain race, or you were born to certain parents, or you had shitty parents, or you've suffered from depression, or you're overweight, or all these motherfucking things that they put in your face to give you the exact excuse as to why you can't achieve what it is you want to achieve. You need to understand one thing, and that's this. Your hardships, your challenges, your situation will either be the reason you don't make it, or it will be the story you tell when you do make it, and you get to make that choice.
It's one thing to be hungry, it's another thing when you're starving for greatness and starving for success. I know what it's like to operate every single day, regardless of the success that I've been a lucky son of a bitch to achieve. I operate every day as if I'm starving.
Now the true task is never forgetting it, right? Even when we become successful, even when things go really well and we hit a rough patch. The challenge is never forgetting the spirit, the feeling, the thought process of when we went through those moments of preparation, what it took to get over the hump, to get through the rough patches, and to continue to press forward, right? That's why I always say to people, never allow life to make you forget why you do what you do. Because a cat can become so successful, they can become a victim of their own success.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble.
Whatever happened last week happened last week. Whatever happened last year, your girlfriend dumped you. You gotta get up, look at the man in the mirror and go, this is what I'm doing today, whether they like it or not. I don't give a f. Everybody's focusing on the stupidity things that they got on the news. Don't watch the news no more. I give you the real news. You know what the news is about today? You, and how you're gonna conquer the world. How do you become a king? By taking it to the next fucking level. By doing something outside your comfort zone.
Commitment means standing up for your life. It means honoring yourself. We say, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard. We don't challenge our spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy it. You can pervert it, but you can't destroy it.
When you start to look at you look at your life, you look at your health, you look at your business, you look at your family, you look at your relationships, and you look at all those things that are messed up in all those areas. And when you say all those things, all those problems in my business, my life, my health, all those things are my fault, that's really a heavy weight to bear. But it's also extremely liberating, because if it's all your fault, you're the one that can fix it. Yeah. You're the one that can get your business back together. You can repair the relationships. You can get yourself healthy. Like, you can take control of all those things.
I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat. And I was the one looking for all these ways to say, it's okay, David. You're a loser. You're a born loser, so it's okay. It's on me. The people around me are up. They're not going to save you. You got to save yourself, my friend. I was like, man, this rest of your life is going to suck. It is going to suck, not because you're going to be a loser, but because you're going to finally start to win. And winning is not easy, my friend.
Winning requires you to go so far deep inside yourself. It's way beyond the surface. It's way beyond internal. It's going to a place that a lot of people haven't visited in a long, long time, because they're afraid to visit that person, because when they visit that person, they don't know who that person is anymore.
There are times where you want to quit. It's natural. You get frustrated, you've been disrespected. You're discounted. There are people who overlook you. But don't quit. Resign. Resign yourself to the fact that there's more inside of you. Answer the desire, that thirst inside of you that says, I deserve more, I am more, I want to be more. Resign yourself to the fact that you will improve and do whatever it takes so that you become everything you were called to be.
And if you ask yourself the question, what am I looking for? And the answer is you're looking for a reason to stay down, you will always find it.
As you look toward the future, if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me, what would your life be like? What would your future be like if you decided to want that which you desire so strongly that it prepares you past your fears? Feel the fear and do it anyway. And I'm saying to you that all of us who have been entombed by fear have the capacity to resurrect ourselves.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone.
Engage. Engage. Weakness is strong. I must be stronger. I must crush it into submission through force of will.
Once something's important to you, it never leaves your mind.
I live for today, and I don't care what happened yesterday. I live in the moment because that's the only thing we have in our lives are moments in time. And as soon as I've gone out that door, we can never reverse back and play it again.
You've just gone through a breakup, and it's the worst thing you've ever been through. Some of you lost your job, and you thought that job was it. And so all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I thought my life was together, now it's in shambles at my feet. No, it's not. It's all right. A blade does not become strong until it's been through the fire.
The price of regret is much heavier than the price of discipline. You never want to wake up one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year down the road and go, man, I wish I would have listened to my gut. I wish I would have done this thing. You don't want to live in regret. If there's something you want to get done in work, your relationships, school, whatever it is, do it.
There is no prize out there. The only prize is this one and what you feel and what you want to accomplish. I mean, to want and to be ambitious and to want to be successful.
What if adversity wasn't a problem to you? What if it wasn't a problem? What if it was a privilege? But if you think back in your life, again, your biggest growth moments came from your biggest pain moments. If you look back in your life, you realize, man, I had a privilege to go through that. That adversity builds your purpose, makes you understand your purpose more.
It's easy to use your childhood as a crutch instead of seeing it as a chisel. I always hear people say, my family is so dysfunctional, using it as an excuse or something. But it's not really a valid excuse because everybody's family is dysfunctional in some way. There are so many crutches people want to use to justify themselves. But for me, you have to eliminate every single one of them. Get rid of them all. Then tell yourself it's up to you. What are you going to do now that you let go of all those crutches?
And you have to be willing to put yourself in very difficult situations at all times to be able to do that. So my big takeaway of life is if you're constantly taking the easy way out, you're never gonna callous your mind. And when you're in those points where you want to quit and not quitting and seeing how the mind starts to operate in those moments of fear, anxiety, self-doubt, insecurities. And that's where you learn to fix it. You don't fix it in 72-degree weather. Fix it by going into the environment.
You know, and first and foremost, I think about my life and I think about adversity and I think about opposition. But for the most part of my life, I've been on this quest to figure out how can I work hard for something and my performance is not based upon the outcome. How can I work and my effort and my motivation and my drive is not based upon what the product will be, but more so based upon me taking pride in what I do. And so I came up with this thing called process over product. And what I mean by the process, I'm talking about the way I handle my business on a daily basis and the way I go about every single aspect of my life. I live by this thing called empty the bucket. But what they don't understand, it's an unspoken law, and empty the bucket. It's an unspoken law of accountability and responsibility to me on this earth and my existence and everybody that is connected to me. I may be crazy, but I don't know. I just believe that I'm supposed to give everybody that is connected to me the best version of me.
Struggling right now, and you're having a hard time, and you're pissed off, and you're frustrated, know two things. One, you're not alone. Two, this is necessary for you to get where you want to go. And if you quit, if you falter, if you stop, all of the pain will be for nothing. And you need to remember that.
When it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life, and that I can't do.
And so as you begin to look at where you want to go, beginning to embrace that, it's possible. I'm blessed and highly favored. I've got a lot going for me. I got some good stuff in me. And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe. That I can do what I want to do. It's possible I can write my own book. I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity. Decide to live your fantasy. See, in life, you can go through life, you can come up with reasons or you can come up with results. You can come up with excuses or you can come up with achievements. You can go through life blaming or you can come up with solutions. The choice is in your hands, satisfaction or despair. We can choose that.
Your dreams are just around the corner, but you got to get out of the nightmare. You see, the greatest thing that you have is you. It's the tool that God gave you